Yeah. Okay, you did it.
I'll figure out a way to screw it up.
Who said they weren't coming? No, was it Ann?
Yeah. She's out skiing in Utah.
Wow. It's probably colder here. Trying to sit up.
This is what I got today.
Oh my God. Look at that.
That light's for photographer quality. You can adjust it. It's got like a 98 CRI. You can change both the brightness and the colors.
Boy, you don't fool around when you get something.
Now,
That looks like a lay. You're going to start turning wood or something.
yeah, I've got about 24 projects teed up. Been waiting for 4 weeks for it.
Hi,
Hey,
Linda.
Linda.
guys. Hey, real quick, Keith, or maybe Bob, any of you, are you familiar with that Nature Connections workshop, Lita Woodley? I
No,
saw no? Okay. Skip had posted something. I didn't know if he actually knew her or if it was just a post he was sharing.
it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I see Kirk's on.
Hey Keith, was that you out there on the ice boat today?
No, that's my next door neighbor, Reed. I'm having some back problems, so and I just had a cataract, so I'm not supposed to bounce around too much.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got
But the
my
ice
issues
is
too.
incredible ice out there right now. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's killing me. I'd be ice skating the whole lake or,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about going over to Walled Lake or going to the Nationals to photograph it.
Yeah. Boy, it's just beautiful ice. It's incredible. Yeah, right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a little better lighting.
Yeah, my neighbor, he's put one of those 360-degree GoPros on his boat.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Oh, I saw it sticking off his stern.
yeah, and then another thing he does, he puts it on a pole and sticks it in the ice and then sails by it a few times. So
Yeah. Yeah, those are cool.
it's pretty. He showed me some of the footage there. It's pretty cool software on there too. How you can manipulate it around so it looks like you're sitting on top of the earth, or
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's super fun. Yeah, I don't know if you're in that ice boating group, but there's an incredible little video of a wipeout that's like, oh my God. And it's with those 360 cameras.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, this is street, not ice boating.
yeah.
Street, urban landscape, and anything else we can think of.
I got Joseph trying to call me. Hello, Joseph.
Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Linda.
Bob, would you send Joseph a connection? He's trying to get on. Is it too late?
I don't know if I have a copy. Hang on.
Let's see if I can do it. No, we're just getting everybody together. Hold on here. Let me see. Forward to Joseph.
Linda, what city do you live
We'll have to
in?
look through this. It's the whole thing, but
I'm in Noville.
okay, good.
We're in,
Noville.
we're in
Yeah,
Noville. So we're right on the border of Northville and Novi, and Northville Schools, Novi City.
Well, Keith and I were talking about ice boating out at Walled Lake. They're going crazy.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's close enough.
I'm tempted to go out there tomorrow.
It's gonna be so cold.
I'm not sure there's supposed to be much wind tomorrow though. Today,
Oh,
was
yeah,
incredible wind, and the day before too. But
I had high hopes for doing some street images, but the temperature really kind of put a kibosh on that for me.
Yeah, well, this little thing's gonna get me back out on the street again. I can tell. I can tell my little juices are flowing a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really psyched last week. I had some really good ideas and,
Yeah,
well,
I
you'll
enjoyed
see by
that
my
video
images.
you sent, Bob.
Oh, thanks.
yeah, that was.
Oh, yeah. That image with all those hands on that railing. I mean, I've looked at that for years and years. I love that guy. I played
Fedorenko.
around with stuff a little bit, but I'm gonna do more.
Well, Gary's the one that finds all the good stuff.
Who's Gary? Raise your hand.
Gary's the guy in the upper left corner, first one. He's our teacher.
Got him. He just waved.
Sensei.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. it's a good
Sensei.
sensei.
We're talking street right now. All these people are posting about Jay Mizell. And someday I might share a couple things about Jay with you guys. That's why I got my glasses on my head, thinking about Jay.
Okay.
He always did that.
Well, Gary does a lot of really artistic stuff, which I think we've all benefited from learning. And he actually allowed us to have a couple of his images for my husband's office. They came out spectacular.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't looked at Gary's Flickr site, you should.
Okay, I'll look him up.
Another one is Tom Pinar, who's going to join us tonight.
Cool.
Tom's
Well, I'm
I really
getting
like
excited
Tom's
about
stuff.
being,
When Tom showed us some stuff on one of the meetings there, that really impressive.
Oh, Tom Pinar?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, some of the stuff he's done this last month. We went to our breakfast, had coffee and talked about Art Deco, and he went home and started going crazy with Art Deco. And it's just amazing. What a talented guy is.
Yeah.
what is his name again?
Tom Pernar, Pernar.
T or P?
P is in Paul.
What is he, 83?
80, I think.
He's at least 80 anyway. He still mountain bikes and kayaks and hardcore
like this
mountain
guy.
bike.
I like that guy.
Yeah, he's hardcore. And there's nothing about Photoshop he doesn't know.
That's cool.
Joseph.
I see we got Stuart's phone. So that must be Ann trying to dial in from ski resort.
Yeah, it's me. I'm here.
All right.
I
I'm
might
try-
actually show myself in a little bit. I'm driving right now, but I'm here.
Okay. Well, I'm supposedly recording this in case.
Oh, yes, please do.
It says it is.
Yep. Oh, there's Tom now.
Oh, okay, just sent him a little note.
So Joseph, did you finally get rid of all that Nikon gear? And
No, I still have that everything.
oh, okay. I figured you'd go and follow Gary and get the big Fuji.
No plans on that.
Joseph only came tonight because I promised I wouldn't ask him to make a presentation, so he's,
Yeah, for a while I thought you kicked me out because I didn't get any invites anymore.
That's probably an error on my part.
how you doing, Tom?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you. How's everybody else?
We're good. We're just
Good.
singing your praises while you were
Oh,
waiting for you to get on the.
I had a little trouble getting on. But I'm here now.
Okay. I think are we expecting more?
You never know. We're at 11 now. Tom, what camera did you finally end up ordering?
I got it right here. This baby just came in this afternoon. Oh, you can't see it, I guess. It's a A7 IV.
Okay. That's the one I was hoping you ordered.
Yeah. Yeah.
You like it?
Pardon?
Do you like it?
I haven't even got the battery fully charged yet.
All
I just
right.
got it. Yeah. And,
Is that a Sony or what?
yes, it's Sony. Yeah. It'd take me forever to learn how to use it, I guess.
Now, is that 24 megapixel or 30?
No, it's 33.
33.
33, yeah.
Anybody
And-
playing with the Alpha One?
I have one.
You like it?
It's incredible.
I agree.
Yeah, I just saw a review a few days ago from Jared Poland. And he's, of course, tests all the cameras, and he's had the Alpha One for a year. And he says it's still, in his mind, the only camera to go with for still shots. The autofocus is so good.
So Kirk, this is your first meeting in person, right? Second one.
Second,
Second one, okay, all right. But
Yeah.
you know, there's the back.
I don't know
there's
how to
back issue.
submit stuff to the group, and I've got a lot to learn, how to kind of get in sync with you guys, but Linda's been very encouraging, so that's really nice.
I think that's one thing about this group is we encourage and help each other. And I think that's a big benefit.
we're pretty easy going.
Okay. Well, let's start going here. If somebody else jumps in, that's fine.
I guess one thing that probably we should bring up, Gary and I discussed it a little bit. If there's anything you guys want to see or do, let us know. We're flexible.
Yeah, I look and look and look for things that we can bring to the meeting. So any ideas we really appreciate. Let's see.
Other than Gary's got a new camera and we need to watch what he's shooting from here on out.
Ann, are you able to see what the pictures I'm putting up?
I can, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so this is one that this was right before Christmas. I was using my 50mm 1.8 Z mount lens just in Northville. This was just trying to get some focus shots. So this is a little candy shop.
That's cool.
This is in Northville?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, it's next to Janetti's.
Oh, it must be new.
It used to be the little Baby and Me shop or whatever, the little kids
Oh.
clothing shop. It's the
The
same
Moon,
venue.
Moon
Moon, Baby and Me, or whatever it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, yeah. So it's now a candy store. So kind of cute.
Yeah, shop windows are a great topic. Just photograph what's in the window, let the backgrounds blur out. Don't worry about the reflections. All that adds to the composition.
I like the condensation too. I think
Yeah.
Yeah, I say it was kind of dirty, the window as well. Yeah. So next one. Okay, so these were just on the kind of market square. We were trying to do the summer front focus, summer back focus, just to get the bokeh. Sorry, back bokeh, front bokeh. And I did them in black and white because there were so many different color temperatures there. I didn't like it. So they're all black. There's only 3, but I did them in black and white because of that.
Yeah, it works good in black and white.
Yeah.
Was this the same lens, the 51.8?
This is the 51.8. Yep.
Okay, that gets some nice bokeh.
Yeah, it does.
Did you use a tripod?
No, these are handheld.
That's
Oh, were they? Did I? No, I think they were handheld. Yeah, yeah, because I was with you, wasn't I? Yeah. So that's the last one. That's just that's looking onto the lights. I kind of like it. That's probably my favorite of the 3.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
one too, Ann.
Good composition.
Nice.
But this one, the bokeh balls, you can actually see the hexagonal.
Mhm.
I wonder when the others. Let's see. They don't show up quite as hexagonal on the others, do they?
No,
I wonder
So
why that
this
is.
a 50 millimeter.
This is a 51.8. I think I
Mhm.
checked them all. I looked at the EXIF data and that was, I'm pretty sure I know I went out with my Helios, but I don't think I shot with that. So,
But you can get that lens for any camera body. There's adapters, Bob, you said.
the Helios, are you talking about?
Well, there's quite a
I-
few you can get. You have to have a
You can adapt.
specific,
Yeah.
depends on the camera and lens you've got, but a lot of the mirrorless cameras will let you adapt all kinds of things.
Okay.
Yeah. And this
Like
one
in-
is just a, oh, sorry. Go
Well, like in
ahead.
the case of the Sonys, because of their focal distance, practically every lens out there can be adapted to them. That's not always the case for Sony's glass because of the focal distance or
And this
Right.
one,
Go ahead, Ann.
this is one from probably March, April time when I was, I had my Lens Baby Twist 60. So this is, I threw this one in just because it's a kind of a different kind of bokeh that it creates. It's kind of like this
it's really nice.
swirl. Not because it's a fantastic picture, but just because it's a different kind of bokeh.
That's a good
Nice and
composition.
soft, yeah, nice.
I like it.
So do I.
It's very Linda too.
So yeah, so they're the only bokeh ones that I have. But I didn't really get.
I used to be a bokeh snob where I thought all bokeh should just be creamy smooth in the background. But the more I see some of the swirly stuff and the different characters from some of these old lenses, I'm really warming up to some of these older lenses because they can really create some interesting backgrounds.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's me on the bokeh. So
Really nice, Ian.
As
thank you.
Okay, so I have I didn't really get a chance to go out and do any bokeh because I was gone for a while. But anyway, this was one I kind of was in October. I was taking some pictures of pine cones, and this was one where I actually got a bokeh. Not that I tried to, but so I wanted to show you this one. And then there's a couple other pine cone pictures that I did as part of a group that I did several pine cone pictures in a day or two. So just thought I'd share. I like to do this kind of stuff. And then, like Ann said, this is a different kind of bokeh background. It doesn't have the circles or whatever, but it's just a softer
That's
background.
a very interesting pine cone.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I hadn't seen that one
That
before.
one is
That's
too.
cool.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's a nice one there.
But
Yeah.
by the way, I'm looking for pine cones. If anybody knows where I can find some.
Come to my
Yeah, these are
backyard.
just, yeah,
I have
these are
tons,
just on a
Bob.
walk.
Do ya?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Yeah, because what I want to do is put them in resin and turn them and make them into coffee spoons. It's kind of an interesting concept, but
Are you looking for a particular shape?
no, just the typical pine cone, maybe that would fit in a 12-ounce glass or, maybe that big around.
We have a bunch of ponderosa pines. We have tons.
And I can try, well, grab a few and I'll come over sometime.
Okay.
And I submitted this one because it has the foreground bokeh. Actually, I didn't try to get that. It just happened.
What
This
is
was
the
at-
foreground?
Pardon?
What is
What's
the foreground?
It's there's water and then reeds with water on them.
Okay.
Like dew.
Yeah,
That's
the dew on them in the morning.
Bastel Apache.
Yes. Yep.
Really pretty, Ann.
Thank you.
I love your pine cones. That
Thanks.
Kirk, very Linda.
Yeah, right. So I thought I should submit some street stuff because I haven't been on this call for 2 months now. And so I put together some of these. A couple are recent, others are through different years. This was just an old Pontiac car that was in a little town in New Mexico that was sitting out and just sitting by the side of the road. And I took some pictures inside it, and I liked the way the light was coming in.
This is an image that a lot of the younger people should see. We were
Yeah.
just talking the other day about, remember when you had to put an aftermarket air conditioner under the day?
Right, right.
Yeah. But I like that shot. That's,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
Thank you.
it's kind of,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, retro in a way, but
Bench front
great.
seat.
Yeah, I like that.
And this was a little town outside Taos. It was an abandoned gas station, and this guy has been collecting stuff for like 30 years. So I have this picture both in black and white and color because I couldn't choose which one I liked the best. And I put my own clouds in it. The sky was pretty much blank, so I
Wow.
grabbed some clouds from another one of my photos and put
So
it
you're
into.
gonna try competing with Keith.
Nice putting that behind that tree. Well done.
Oh, thank you. So which one do you guys prefer, black and white or
Black
color?
and white.
Black
I
and white,
like
okay.
the black and white.
Monocolor.
Black and white.
Okay.
I can see how you liked them both. I like the subtle colors and
Yeah.
and color.
Me too.
That's a interesting color profile. Did you pick that up from somewhere, or is that just something you created?
I didn't pick it up from anywhere, just
No?
kind of, yeah,
It
just
reminds
kind
me
of.
of Gary's. It looks
Pardon?
like it reminds me of Gary's color.
Yeah, nice and subtle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I turned down the clarity in some areas, and then I played around with the different color wheel and the sliders, and
Yeah, I like it.
thank you.
Yeah, I think I like the color one better.
Okay.
I like the soft colors in that photo.
I do too.
And I make photo books from our trips that we've taken, and I've just completed 2014. And this was one that was in there in that Italy trip that I took, and this is from Positano. And I just liked the steps, and this lady was walking down, and so I snapped a photo.
Great composition.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I love the balance to that composition.
Thank you. Again, this was in Positano. Lady just standing outside this art gallery.
The lighting is really nice. in there.
Another
Nice.
Positano picture. I took this picture because I like these guys, these Italian guys in their hats. The wedding was going on inside, and they were waiting for the bride and the party to come out after the wedding was over. And this picture was taken outside of a little town, outside of Stonehenge, in some little town in the UK. And I like the two old ladies with their dogs. Now with this one, I did 3 layers to get these colors. So I did a little fogginess on part of it, and 2 to 3 layers of different color tones, black and white, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of green, I think was in there, and just kept playing around until I got it the way I kind of liked it.
It's a nice color tone.
Yeah,
yes.
Yes.
very nice, Tony. Yeah.
Thank you.
Why am I? Okay, we're here. Okay.
And this one I took because I really like this. I mean, it was unusual shoes. I would never wear them, but they were something different. And this also was in Positano. So I just snapped this street picture of her with her bag and those big shoes. And I liked the way that there was some shadows too.
You caught her.
It's like a
gait.
Vivian Mayer style.
Yes.
Yeah, I caught her in the right stride.
Yes, you did.
What I like there is how you included the shadow below her feet. Yeah, I think that, that gives grounding to that image.
It does.
Thanks.
Good point.
And this was in Italy, some little old guy all by himself. I just captured him with my camera. And then I used a couple different tones on this also, black and white. And then I added a little bit of kind of a rust color to parts of it.
Did
It
you
just-
soften it a little?
Yes. Mhm.
It's nice.
And then there was some stuff I had to take out in the back. There was 2 people in the back of him, so I cloned them out. It's not perfect, but it was the best I could do.
So in an image like this, because I can definitely see the different colors, you would not be able to enter this in monochrome and club, this would, because it's split toned kind of?
Yeah,
Is
that's
that correct?
correct. That's correct.
That's a shame.
Huh.
Mm.
I
Well,
thought you
that's
could get single color.
GDCCC rules, GDCCC, you know, the place where photography fun goes to die.
Yeah.
Well, they used to allow one color, but they just got kind of carried away. But
Oh, is it still on the website?
And this is in Italy, I think in Florence, I believe. And this little lady with her cane was just looking in the window, and I just liked it and snapped a picture. And then what I did with editing for this is also three-toned, really. There's a black and white, and then almost like navy. And then I kept her in the warmer yellow tones to kind of separate her from the background.
Well, you've really got that technique down.
yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah,
It
fantastic.
was fun doing it, you know, like I said, it's because you guys taught me all of this.
but
That-
and-
you have a
that-
really nice eye though for the street. You have to have a good photo to start with. And
Yeah.
You're
Right.
artistic.
You know,
His
I've
face are
always,
perfect.
thanks, on our trips, I've always taken pictures of people, but it's not my primary, love for photography. I like to take so many different types of photograph. And so, but when I'm on a trip, that's when I get to really see people, and I just naturally want to take the pictures. I didn't even know it was considered like street photography. So I've learned a lot from you and been able to take those pictures and then edit them to make them look better than they actually are, I think, because you guys showed us how to do all this in Photoshop.
They're all very timeless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really pleased to see you cropping square, because I think square is such a strong format for street photography.
Thanks.
compositionally. So these just work wonderfully.
Thank you.
What was the format we were using a week or two ago? The wide, narrow?
Yeah, we went to a couple of different ones. There's so many options, but I think in street photography, the classical street photography, if Vivian Meyer type shots, is all square photography, and I encourage you using that.
I also appreciate the white borders, even though they're very controversial.
I think it helps the photo myself,
I'm
you
I
know.
do
giving
too.
them
It looks
up.
finished.
Yeah.
I
And,
like it
thanks
too.
for sending that link about the street photographers. I did look up a couple people. One was Monaris. She's primarily out of New York. She does New York stuff. I thought she was really good. And then by looking at her, I also found this other guy called Aaron Sarago. They both do a lot of cinematic style street, is how they edit their pictures in Lightroom, a lot of what they call cinematic style. And I didn't do that on these. But there's a lot of darkness to their pictures, and then tends toward the blues and the greens and the aquas.
Mhm.
And some of their stuff, especially I really liked, first I liked Monaris, which I do, but I also really like this Aaron Sarago. He does mostly night photography, street pictures, and they're awesome. So if you want to look at him, his name is EREN, last name SARIGUL. I really liked his stuff.
Yeah, that Luke Stackpool, that's what, I love his stuff too. He does that.
Hey, Ron,
These are mine. This was at a meetup session. It was the Comerica Park behind the scenes tour. And they were going to, part of the tour is they let you go in the visitors dugout. However, the day we were there, they were doing some repairs on the visitors dugout. And the guide our guide didn't know that. And he had all of us there. And he said, well, we can't really go in there. And he said, we don't normally let you go on the field, and we don't normally let you go in the Tigers dugout, but this time we're going to kind of skirt around behind home plate and go over to the Tiger dugout. And I couldn't resist getting a little different perspective from my point of view of the D behind home plate.
What's the perspective on that as far as your crop ratio? That's,
I I don't know. I didn't pay attention to what the numbers were. I just cropped it to where I thought it filled the frame the way I wanted it to look.
It works.
Like 3
Sure
to
do.
Yeah,
1.
it looks like a panorama, you know.
It's wider than
1.
3 to 1.
Mhm.
It's wider, like 3.5.
That's interesting.
This is backstage at Masonic Temple, again, a meetup when it was closed, and with all the stage lights with all the different colors. I really liked the lighting on the ropes and chains that are used to raise and lower curtains and position lights and so forth. And I loved those colors, so I did sort of a detail. I like a lot of detail stuff.
Yeah, you got a lot of good texture in there too.
That's an interesting place. Are they still giving tours?
I don't know. This was, I don't know if any of you know Alana St. Laurent. She used to
Yeah.
have her own meetup group. This was one that she organized a few years back.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very interesting building, the Masonic Temple.
It
A lot of
is.
good stuff in it.
This was the Dexter Farmers Market. I like peppers and I liked all those colors, so I kind of played around with trying to use those 3 green ones as kind of the main anchor for everything, and tried to make a composition that I
Got a
thought.
triangle out of it.
Pardon me?
You got a triangle out of those green ones. That's
Yeah.
a good thing.
Oh, you could use that for one of our assignments, the triangle assignment,
Yeah, I could,
Yeah.
yeah,
and everything's in focus nicely.
thanks. Okay, this is some bokeh in the background. This is my wife. We were in London a couple of years ago, and this is not Westminster Abbey, this is Westminster Cathedral. You can't take pictures in the Abbey, but you can in the cathedral. And the cathedral is the Catholic Church. And I tried to get shallow depth of field because of all the chairs and the stuff in the background, having it all fade into a blur. This was sunrise at Blue Water Bridge. And the reason I put this one in there is I've never had one where the flare had all the lines in it. And I was looking through this and I thought, well, that's kind of different. And then all of a sudden it dawned on me, duh, the reason is all those cross braces are making the lines in the rays.
Uh-huh.
Well, you can get that just with a smaller or
Aperture.
my aperture, smaller aperture.
Yeah, but you see all the different, I'm pointing, you can't see me pointing. You see all the little different lines in the big rays?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay,
Yeah.
That came from those cross braces.
okay.
It's the only thing I could figure out. This was, we were actually on the London Eye, the big Ferris wheel. And that
Nice cloud.
lighting at night is very colorful. You can kind of see a little bit of the Ferris wheel and then the skyline of the Blue Hour skyline of London.
Oh, the pink and grays up close are really nice.
Yeah, real
Yeah, those
striking
are cool
color.
colors.
Thank you.
You had one like that, Ann, didn't you?
This is from a boat trip on the Thames. And I liked this one because of the focal part of, I guess, for lack of a better term, the focal part of the sun coming through the clouds was right lined up with that upper portion coming through the openings there. And the other thing I liked about this was the light on that other tour boat in the foreground.
That would work for next month's assignment, backlighting.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about the assignments. And this is the center of London Eye. That's really quite a structure. I didn't think about it before, but it's actually cantilevered out over the river. It's supported, that hub is supported only at one end. So I did a little bit of research on some of the engineering that's involved in this, and it was phenomenal. They basically built this thing and then took it all apart into pieces that they could put on barges and float it down the Thames and reassemble it and do the final construction details in place.
Is that cage thing there, right at the, is that like a person could Is that the scale
Well,
of it?
those, you're talking about the real long cables?
No,
or
no,
you're
no,
talking about the
right
middle?
there, yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of strain gauges up there that they're constantly monitoring the strain on each of those cables.
Okay.
It's like a big bicycle wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my
Like-
lefty mountain bike front
Yeah.
wheel.
Yeah, that's what it looks
It's-
like, yeah.
It's
You can
really
see the little
interesting
cage
to
there where
read.
the guy, where a worker could go and climb up there and do something and not fall into the river.
Good
Yeah,
stuff, Ron.
the scale of it is impressive. I was just reading about the first Ferris wheel at the Chicago World's Fair. It was absolutely fascinating.
Those are good.
Thank you.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
I did a couple things on these photos that you're going to see. This one was in a photo. I cropped it into the front end of the bench.
Let
and
me
I
open this
submitted-
in a larger format so we can see these. I'll put them in camera raw and then we can just zoom in.
Okay.
I think they're a little bit too small on the monitor to get a good look at.
Boy, Bob, you really have gotten into the photography. This is gorgeous stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
This was your still life entry, right?
Right, yeah, it is. I just wanted to go through it with you and a couple others on how I
Mhm.
did it, and
Oh, yeah.
then I'm switching gears and talk about something else towards the end.
Well, I'm all ears.
There we go. That's better.
Okay, yeah, this was the barn in Greenfield Village, and the only light coming in was through the wooden slats on the side of the building. And the photos are all concentrated to the front end of the bench. I did a major crop to get the still life photo from this larger one.
Is this on the
And,
Firestone farm?
What was that?
Is it on the Firestone farm?
Yes, right, second level, that barn there. Whoops, can you skip that one for now, Gary?
Sure.
And skip that. I don't know, I thought I had these in order.
Okay.
So I cropped it in the color photo to this image. And then the next image, I converted it to black and white. And then from there, I did the end result here is the neural filter
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
in Photoshop. And it's the colorized
Oh, it's beautiful.
portion of that.
Wow.
That came out very nice.
Fantastic.
No,
Yeah,
Yeah.
real nice.
That was the end result on that. I like the way it looks. It gives it an old fashioned look.
you
These are
colorized
some,
The lighting was so nice. You edited the lighting so well.
yeah.
So
thank
Bob,
you.
did you use
Beautiful
colorized
lighting.
just on the black and white?
What was that?
Did you use the colorized neural
Oh,
filter on the black
right.
and white?
Right. You have to start with a black and white photo
Okay.
to colorize it.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I did the same thing here. This is the, I changed it to black and white, this
Cool.
color. And then
Wow,
I
did you improve that?
colorized it here.
Yeah, that's nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah, really like that.
that's, yeah,
Real nice.
I just like the way it gives it an old fashioned look. It's not really,
Yeah.
Sepia. It's not really a sepia because there's other colors.
There's multiple tones in there. No, that's really nice.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, thank you.
How many layers, Tom, or Bob, rather, how many layers?
That's just a single layer.
Really? Wow,
Yeah.
very nice.
Well, you're
No.
letting the artificial intelligence engine color
Yeah,
it.
it helps out quite a bit.
You know, I
this
just
one
want to
here-
say, can I just say, Bob,
Oh.
you know, there was a comment made, and I think Ann McCutcheon said it, and, you know, Ann, I know you weren't being like judgmental or anything, but the thinking in creative sometimes that maybe if there's this impression that someone just pushed a button to get the image, but
Mhm.
you know, you had to crop it correctly, you had to edit the lighting correctly, you had to choose the right filter to use. You know, I think that's, in my opinion, I think that's an unfair thing to think, that if someone just pushed a button, it's not creative. I think,
Mhm.
you know, when you do those things, you realize there's a lot more that goes into it than just clicking a neural filter or a filter.
Right.
I think in the creative category where people get excited is the overuse of a painterly effect, where all you do is add a paint effect and really haven't done anything else to it.
Yeah, and
That's
I
what I'm
did,
saying. I think you do.
Linda,
There's more to it than
I
you
did,
think.
I did feel a little, I don't feel like I articulated what I was trying to say very well when I did that. And it kind of bothered me afterwards. I almost texted you actually, because that was not my intention. What I think it's those really kind of jazzed up kind of topaz.
Yeah,
I just think people they just aren't well received in general. And I'm not saying that's what you, I mean, I know that you did
No,
not
I
do.
know. I understand.
So, but I think when you're making creative decisions in that category, I think it maybe is something that is judged more when you're in the creative category than maybe if you're just in the color or another, you know, or black and white. I mean, you are making a decision on your processing, and I think that definitely the pictures that Bob has put in tonight, I mean, it's definitely enhanced by that.
oh,
by that.
absolutely. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, and his base photos are good.
Right.
Right,
I think they
just
have
I
to
just
start out with good
I-
photos, you know?
right.
I mean, those are incredibly crisp.
Yep.
That first black and white one was the photo I used to, well, I entered it in competition, but for tonight, I colorized it, and which is the next photo here. And I kind of like the look it gave on this one too.
And
Yeah.
Adobe's got quite the formula in that colorizing.
Yeah.
I love what that did to the canopy.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, that's
This
cool.
is, yeah, and then this one here, the third one in the series, I went back to when we first started our meetings in April of 2020, and I viewed the very first video that Bob put on his YouTube website, and trying to do the artography that Gary went
Yes.
through
Yeah.
during that session. And, you know, the next week or whenever we had our next meeting, I submitted a photo, and I really didn't like the way it turned out. So I thought I'd look at it again, and I used that technique here, you know, to soften the surfaces or smooth out the surfaces, and, you know, desaturate it somewhat.
Well, these color tones in that subject matter make it look like an old-fashioned 1880s vintage balloon.
Mhm. Yeah, it does.
Where is this place?
Oh, it's the Rosa Parks Transportation Center. It's a bus station in downtown Detroit.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's near the federal building, right across the kind of kitty corner of the federal building.
Okay.
And
I
it
used to
was
look
at-
out at it out my window.
You're lucky you didn't have all the buses in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's,
it's on
you can,
I keep meaning to get there too.
yeah, you
'cause it
can
always
see a
comes up.
headlight of one of the buses in the background.
Yeah.
Towards the bottom there. And there's just a few people there, but I was
Kevin and
able
I
to
stood
walk.
there for a couple hours one night just photographing.
Yeah,
Very nice, Bob.
yeah.
That's a
thank
great
you.
place for architectural details.
Yeah. Gary, I wanted to ask you, when I was reviewing the video from a couple of years ago, there was one technique for this technique where you talked about, you know, sharpening, and it had to do with pressing the Alt button to get the white lines. And
Oh, okay.
I don't
The mask.
recall, you know, when I looked at the video, you know, there was a strip of our pictures on the right-hand side, and I couldn't see exactly what you were doing
Bob, do you use Photoshop or Lightroom?
Yeah, Photoshop is what I use.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember where that, I think it's in,
It's just the masking part, isn't it?
It's in Lightroom. If you push Option as you
Yeah.
do the slider bar on the mask slider of sharpening, it converts it to a black and white, and you see the degree of sharpening, what lines are enhanced, so you can reduce your masking effect to
So
just
what's-
involve the lines you want.
What's white gets sharpened,
Yes.
and you can back it off as needed.
Where would that be in Photoshop or
well, I'm
Camera
looking
Raw?
right now on Camera Raw, and
It might be in raw.
I don't,
Yeah, only the white parts of the photo were being sharpened and anything black was
There you
not
go.
being.
You have to add some sharpening.
There
There
you
you go.
Yeah. Hit masking, hit Option.
Or alt.
Oh,
There you go.
masking.
That's it.
Okay. Masking and option, okay.
That's a really good thing to denoise your image. Because you only want to sharpen the stuff you care about, not all that
Mhm.
background material, especially clouds.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was missing, I think, on these.
so it doesn't
Photo.
pop up on its own. This is usually closed, so you have to go over to sharpening and click the triangle so that it opens up this box, and even then,
Oh,
it's off until you
Add some
select an
sharpening.
amount of sharpening,
mhm.
and then hold down the Option key with the slider, and you can get that.
I
And,
see, okay.
But
All
that,
right.
that really helps to soften your image.
brings out the
Yeah.
edges, and
Mhm.
when I first saw this, I liked it, and then you mentioned that this is the artography technique, so that looks good. I'm glad
Yeah.
it worked out
the-
good for you.
Yeah, thank you. Then the next two photos I had, I was also trying to do the artography. I don't think they came out too well. This one, I think needs some sharpening. Some of the surfaces are kind of flattened out.
I don't know. I kind of like it the way it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do too.
Very painterly. It has a watercolor look.
Yeah.
yeah. I desaturated it too.
Maybe actually making it grainier, giving it a little more earthy feel because it's an earthy shot.
Mhm. Yeah, I can give that a try.
Yeah, softening the color palette is something that I always like when it's done and I forget to do it.
Kind of a neat effect often is if you actually enhance vibrance and then reduce saturation, you get kind of a cool effect.
Okay, I'll look into that. This one here is the same thing where I desaturated it, but it looks a little too soft. So that's why I wanted to know about the sharpening.
Well, it's not the sharpening, Bob. What you've done is you've overdone the softening. So what you need to do is back it off a little bit. Either put this on over the original layer and then blend the two down. So you take a little bit of that I don't know, kind of a chunkiness that you see in the picture. It looks like that it's too pixelated. And when you start blending the two together, you'll start seeing at a certain point where it just looks right. You'll know it when you see it. It might be a 50% blend or a 40% blend, but start blending the two together and all of a sudden it'll just pop and you'll know when it's right.
Okay, all right, good. Thank you. I'll give that a try.
Good
That's
stuff.
what I had today. Thank you.
It's really good stuff.
Very nice.
Very good.
You're nice, Bob.
Thank you.
So I don't usually do a lot of people shots, but I was out getting some exercise on the Caseville break wall, and this guy came by and he just hit the right spot right in front of those God rays. And so
That's nice.
now the other day, Gary was duplicate, mirroring some images on a bridge. And so I thought, oh, I have a kind of a nice bridge image anyway from the Cut River Bridge in the UP. I think it's in here somewhere, the original, but and
That's
then,
nice, Keith.
Yeah, I like all the texture and the,
Yeah.
Detail.
yeah.
so I did several versions of it. So
Good
that's
work.
the original picture.
Wow.
Wow, that's
Looks
fun.
good in color.
Yeah, that's a mirror image then, Keith?
That's done a couple times. Yeah,
Quads.
there's like,
Oh, yeah.
and I think I did that linear blur thing. And
Difference.
and that's,
The difference?
yeah, the difference method. Yeah, and then,
Yeah, that's really cool.
Well, you always come up with the colors.
so
Great kaleidoscope.
yeah, just
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Exactly.
nothing
Nice.
subtle about those colors.
No.
Is that relatively easy to do, like a mirror image like that and make
It is relatively easy to do, but it's very difficult to get right
okay.
Well,
because you have to be very careful where you're cutting the picture so that it blends through. And I'll show you an example
well,
later.
I can tell you, I had read an article way back on how to do this. I've done it mostly with nature images like rock textures and things like that, and some stuff from Antelope Canyon and things which came up pretty interesting. But what you do, you extend the canvas in the direction you want to go, exactly the say the
Okay.
width, yeah.
Mhm.
And then with your magic wand, you select the white part, the canvas. Then you're gonna invert it, invert the selection. But then you want to, with your arrow key, move it over one click, and then copy that. Then reverse your selection and copy it back onto the blank canvas part. And then you have to flip in, if you go to edit, transform,
Mhm.
and then flip either vertical or horizontal, depending which way you want. And then sometimes you just use the arrow key to line it up. Sometimes it will be a little white line in the center, but
Mhm.
you,
So what is this called? Is it just called reflection? Like if you were to Google a YouTube thing, you're just making a reflection? Or is it symmetry or
It's a mirror reflection.
yeah,
mirror reflection?
yeah.
Okay.
But anyways,
So it's
I've been going through some older pictures, and this a couple of years ago up at the Fayette State Park in the Upper Peninsula. And so that's sort of an architectural shot there of an old iron mine.
There's your classic fireworks shots.
Yeah, on this day, it was raining, and so a lot of my shots had all this bokeh from the rain hitting my lens. And
That's cool.
and then I put like 3 or 4 shots together. So,
Yeah, that came out nice.
but I
Yeah.
thought it hit. We were just doing the bokeh thing. So
And again, subtling the
That's fun.
colors.
yeah. And this is one I have an action to turn a picture into a pencil sketch, and then I brought back the truck from the layer below. So just a little bit different effect.
Mhm.
Oh, that's nice.
Classic Keith Clouds.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice black and white.
That Bozeman?
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice with the toning.
Yeah. Kind of a classic Greenfield Village shot there.
Now, did you do what, it's a nice tone. Did you do what Ann did? Did you like layer different tones, or did you just get that from a basic?
No, I just did one
hue
tone.
or-
yeah, I think a sepia tone.
Mhm.
Good stuff, Keith.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
Oh, God, okay. No, don't start with that one. Let's see.
Okay, you
Start
pick.
with the third one over.
This one?
Yes. So I was, okay, I was very inspired by you, Gary, and I couldn't wait to get out and do some photos. And I looked, at a few examples of urban photography. And what I realized is the ones that really appealed to me were the night shots in color. So that's what I wanted to do. And I thought, oh, great, it's the holidays. I'll just run downtown Northville real quick and get some photos. Well, it just shows how much I don't know what I'm doing. First of all, I picked a Sunday night, nothing's open, freezing cold, no one's out. So the first thing I realized, I did bring a tripod. I knew it was nighttime. I figured I'd have a slower shutter speed, but that's a problem because first of all, there's no people just sitting, but street scenes, people are moving. And so the shutter speed never really worked very well for me. And then the other problem I had was the focusing. I could not, manually focus people fast enough as they walked by. So the first thing I thought I would try and do is come up with a focus area. Kirk had mentioned, presetting your camera, and I thought I would try some of that. So that's me. And I thought, okay, yeah, I'm fairly focused. I think I got this. Anybody, like fishing, I'll just sit and wait. Someone will walk by and I'll click and it should work. But I'm not really moving, and it just ended up being kind of a disaster. And I realized too that equipment matters. My camera's just, I think it's a 4.5. It's just not fast enough. So those are all my excuses. And so I only ended up with one picture I felt I could even show.
Well, a fast lens will help you at night. There's no question about that. but,
Well, yeah.
um,
I mean, I enjoyed it. I learned a lot, but it was a disaster in terms of what I was going to get. So now if you go back, so the second photo is the one that, I felt, it's a cute photo. If it had turned out, I think it would have been a fantastic photo, but it's too blurry. I couldn't get that, but I got the bokeh.
So you're manually focusing?
Yeah,
Are you using focus peaking as your way to
Yes.
determine?
yes.
And with most cameras, if you focus peak, there's like a high, medium, and low setting.
I think it's on high, but honestly, I haven't checked.
Yeah, because that's one to maybe play with. Sometimes if it's on high, it's
Uh-huh.
too gross and it doesn't nail the sharpness exactly.
Oh, okay, so you think a medium is setting is,
Medium, or just play with it and see if that helps.
okay, well, and it was so cool. People were walking so fast. Nobody was really lingering.
But Linda, don't be disappointed or frustrated. Everybody goes through this with night photography.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. I was just like, geez, this is not
It's-
people.
It's called
But then I-
experience. It's experience.
And manually focusing with
Exactly.
gloves on is difficult.
Yes. This was
Yeah, and-
easy. Everybody could do it.
What kind of
But-
ISO?
And I
do you
was-
use?
Oops, everybody's-
I like those color edits, the more cinematic edits, kind of like what Ann mentioned. Ann, I'm gonna have to check those people out. So then I played with the colors to get a more cinematic. This is what
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah, I
ended
like
up
that.
with.
Mhm.
So I'm, again, realizing now just how hard this is. This is a good starting point for me.
Yes.
So,
And I would invest in a very inexpensive 50 millimeter 1.4 lens and get an adapter, put it on your camera and play around with it. And you will be very surprised how quickly you will pick that up and you'll start creating some really interesting images.
okay, I was gonna actually email you about that, and I still might,
There are so many fast 50s for sale on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, just manual focus or
So
even
many.
Even
Yeah.
autofocus, there's plenty of
Yeah.
50 f1.8s. Nikon makes a couple. I don't know what lens or camera you're using, but there's a lot of inexpensive lenses out there that you can use to do it.
Well, I struggle with street photography. I find it very intrusive. I'm not comfortable doing it, but I like nighttime better. It's a little more, anonymous. You're in the shadows. You're not as obvious. I think I could do this if I figure.
I have a question. I was reading on the videos that I did watch, everybody was saying, try to get, 1 point something or other, or at least at the most a 2.8. And the one guy that I talked about, Aaron, he does not use a tripod. And his reasoning says, as soon as you set up a tripod, people, oh, there's a photographer.
Yeah.
And it gets their attention. And then you don't really get that real life situation happening, because now people are either going to try to pose for you or whatever.
Mhm.
And so he handhelds everything. And my thing is like you, Linda, I'm afraid I don't like to get in people's face or close to them. I hate when all of a sudden I'm taking a picture of them and they're looking at me like, oh, she's taking a picture of me. I get real nervous about it. So I was wondering, would even at night, would a 2.8 be good enough? Like using my 70 to 200, 2.8, so I don't have to be close to people.
Well,
Or-
2.8 will work. However, you're not going to get the kind of bokeh that you would get with a faster lens. The faster the lens, the better the bokeh.
Okay.
But turn up your ISO as far as you want. You're not getting points for shooting at low ISO. It does. You don't have to worry about that with street photography. Turn it up to 6400 ISO. Find a cheap 1.4, 1.8 lens and just go out and have fun. And usually you make mistakes and you find out that some of the mistakes are actually pretty nice pictures.
Yeah, I can't impress upon people enough. Any 1.2, 1.4, 1.8 lens, get one and practice with it, because you'll start to realize, shoot it wide open.
Mhm.
So if somebody tells you it's a great lens, if you stop it down a couple stops, don't buy it. It should be good wide open.
They're plenty good wide open, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for character. You're not looking for real sharp images shooting street photography at night. Just look for older lenses like an old Pentax, Minolta, Nikon, Canon. Any of those lenses can be adapted, and they're fun to use. And it takes a little bit of a learning curve to get used to it, but you will. And you'll get some really interesting stuff when those bokeh balls start popping out and everything starts to look watercolory. You're going to be real happy with some of the stuff you're getting.
Yeah, I know I shoot some weddings with Greg, and Greg we both do have a lot of 1.2, 1.4, 1.8 lenses, but mostly 1.2 and 1.4. And he shoots wide open in almost all situations in a wedding.
Okay.
And so I used to always be, oh my God, I've got to be, getting out there at f5.6 so I get everything sharp. And all they do is, if you got the closest eyeball sharp, the rest falls off nicely. And if you've got good bokeh and if you nail the exposure, you've really got a picture.
Now, would an 85 be just too, then I could be even farther from people.
Okay, I'll tell you this too, that Greg, if he had to ask what two lenses does he use the most, he shoots with two cameras. He shoots with a 24-1.4 and an 85-1.4.
How about you, Gary? Do you think 85 is a little too?
I use 85 a lot. I have a
Okay.
number. I got too many 85s. I have 85-1.4s, 85-1.8s, 85-2s.
And I tell you, so you want to get farther away? I've got a 135 1.4 that is so sharp you'll cut yourself on it, and it does an amazing job. So don't, when you start to fool around with fast lenses, put some thought into it and put some practice into it, and you'll be amazed how good your stuff is that you get. And then you find yourself out at night shooting handheld for practically everything. And if you've got a modern camera that has good image stabilization, you can get some incredible slow shutter speeds. Probably not what Gary gets, because he was shooting a bunch of stuff the other day at over 1 second. in a handheld, but
Mm.
you can certainly get your shutter speeds down low, and it does some amazing things.
Yeah. You brought up the
Okay,
point
well,
of
that's all.
ISO.
That's all great advice. Yeah, and the other thing, Ann, the tripod does is people walk even faster because they don't want to get in your picture.
They
So-
don't
Yeah.
want their picture taken, yeah.
Right, so
But
they
that
walk
can be
even
good.
faster.
Yeah.
What, there's a trick to that. You put on a remote release. And what you do is you set up your shot the way you want it.
And then get back.
Then, you fuss around. I don't know if my pictures are going to be shown tonight. I sent 2 in just on email. I don't know how to do this. But I've got a Japanese shot of the Osaka Sky Building with people walking by. And I was sitting there with my camera on a tripod, putzing around, not looking at people really. But when I saw people walk into my frame, I'd hit my release.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
and if they hurry up, you get more action, you get more blur. So
I
it's
don't-
really cool.
I don't know how many times I've seen Gary sneaking around with his camera down at his waist, taking
Oh, absolutely.
candid shots. Nobody knows their picture's being taken.
I
Yeah.
got in trouble
I
with
hate
that in New York.
tripods. I hate tripods, so I'm more than happy to learn. I'd rather learn how not to use them. But anyways, so, and then as far as the other, Gary, you had mentioned, a theme. You had shown us a series of someone who did people with books. And I was real excited to go out and do that. I was gonna look for red hats or primary colors or whatever, but the holidays, it got too cold. So I went through some of my older images looking for bokeh, and I don't have a lot, and I think I've actually even shown some of these before, but I did notice that if I do street photography, probably 70% of the time there's an animal in it. And so I think that might be my theme. And I think I like doing the animals because people don't seem to mind if you take a picture of their animal, and they usually are more candid. And for
Good
me,
point.
I love animals. It's just easy for me to approach people when it's about the dog or the cat or the whatever. So this.
You mentioned red and hats.
Mhm.
Do you have any red hat societies around here? Women's groups that
Oh, I
all
don't
wear
know.
red hats?
I don't know.
Because
Seen
that
them
would be,
before.
yeah, they're around, and that would be a group to get pictures of.
Yeah, yeah. And this had some bokeh in it, and then this is just bokeh. This is lots and lots of bokeh balls.
That's nice.
That is.
I like that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, dogs and, animals, great themes for street photography.
Now, Gary, what about just animals? I've got many pictures when I'm on trips again that I take just of the dogs or
Sure.
cats. There's usually like, you'll see the dog, and then you only see, in my pictures, you only see like the legs of the person with the leash, or
Yes.
maybe up to their waist or something.
Yes.
Unless the person is doing something, like I have a picture, the person is eating an ice cream cone and the dog is looking up at him, then I'll take the whole scene. But I like to take pictures just of the dogs. Is that considered then like street photography, or because?
That's great. Yeah.
Okay.
I think the secret to photographing dogs is to get down to their eye level.
Yes.
Okay,
So get down low, or else hold your camera. If your camera has like a little flip back on back, just hold your camera down a little bit lower, and see the world from the dog's perspective, kind of a thing.
okay.
And get
I'll
in
try that.
close, get in close. I saw one on TV last night that was particularly interesting, where they had a young porcupine eating an ear of corn, and it was in tight, and it was just adorable. This huge nose on it.
Well.
Oh, I
we
saw
had,
that. That was real cute.
Kirk entered that image of the dog from the dog's perspective. That's what I liked about it. That
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
in monochrome.
Yeah, I like that. With the person on the deck or porch or something, and the dog was up front and the person was in the background.
Yeah, that was in Corfu, Greece.
I really like that picture.
And,
Okay,
you know,
Linda, so I think you probably sent these in because you have questions about the style, or you wanted to share these, but
I was sending them to you because I didn't know if you might find something of value to
That's
share.
cool.
It's
yeah,
cool
I
as
love
hell.
these. all of them. I mean, you can
That's
talk
sharp.
forever about the different styles. I'll just go through them real quick, but all, you know, all of these are great. So. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
The portrait styles.
Now,
you
did you
know.
find that guy in a museum or is he real walking around?
So these are the winners of the Flickr Through Your Lens competition in the
Oh.
different categories.
I
And
mean,
the nature one, this is nature. But the one with the birds, that was a nature too. And I thought that was really interesting. I just felt like, I thought it was interesting because I'll be honest, if this had been entered in club, I might have given it a 2. I don't think I would have appreciated,
Yeah.
you know,
No,
I
that's
think it's.
cool.
But I could
really
see
neat
this in an
image.
art gallery.
yeah.
Yes, but it looked dark to me, you know, so it just goes to show you, you know, sometimes, like you guys always say, the rules aren't really rules, they're guidelines, you know, they're not.
I would highly recommend you bring in pictures like this. If these are you like, or you want to talk about them, these are the kind of things that we can discuss and talk about how you can shoot these kind of things. I mean, these are all specialized type photographs. None of these are, you know, somebody just going out and just taking snapshots. These are all really well done, of course, because they you know, they won the
Mhm.
competition. So,
Well, like that
Right.
second one, the colors are just gorgeous.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that one got
Yeah,
like
that's pretty.
30,000 views. There were 17,000 images entered. And yeah, they just couldn't talk enough about that.
Okay, let's give our new guy a little
Mhm.
chance here to, let's see, I'm gonna take this into
Oh.
Camera Raw as well, just so we can see him a little bit bigger, so. Okay, Kirk, tell us about this?
Well, I saw that you, you know, had everybody look at the link of Tintorenko.
Yeah,
And so this was a shot I did early morning at Belle Isle, you know, the bell tower at the north end.
okay,
And my buddy was there and he brought like a hooded robe. And so, you know, I just wanted to create this sort of ghostly image. And,
that's
you know,
good.
it was in color. I put a lot of grain in it. I wanted mood. So I tend to almost always use some level of vignetting. Oftentimes I'll use an elliptical vignette at an angle, you know, to create the, you know, where the light is coming down. And I did that on this. I had, you know, I did that with it and just really bumped up the grain on it a lot. It was all about mood and emotion.
Good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that fits, it fits.
Mhm.
Yep.
Stark contrast to the next one.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like the
saw that you
movement of
were-
the people. I like that, and the
Absolutely.
angle.
You got the composition right.
Absolutely. Well, you know, and you know, this is an example of, you know, picking my stage and setting up the shot and then hanging out. And as people would walk by, I knew I wanted some blur. I don't know what my metadata is. I mean, I do a lot of dance photography where I try to create a blur. So this was probably shot at this is probably a little bit longer than 120. This is probably a 1/10 of a second, you know, with people moving like that, or 1/15 of a second, something like that. You know, playing with the length of exposure to kind of give you that control of, you know, how much ghosting do you want or not, you know, is a big factor in how fast people are moving. So I play with that a lot in my photography.
It takes a lot of practice to get that right.
Oh, it is. It's a big feel thing. And, you know, what you do is you take a shot and, you know, I call it stalking my pictures. I'll take a photograph and I'll go, well, okay, what don't I like about that? What needs to be better? And I modify it and modify it and modify it. So I kind of zero in onto the effect that I want.
I think
Now-
what's interesting here is the people walking in the blurriness
Oh, yeah.
kind
that's
of
what it's
goes
about.
along well with the bright colors and the sharpness of the upper half.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, that was the whole point of that. You know, without the people, my typical comment would be nice
Boring.
stage, no actor. Well, you need actors to come on your stage.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I love people shots.
You've got the primary colors. Did you use a really wide, their legs look distorted.
Yeah, I
This is a
mean, it's
very
a- it's a-
wide.
Oh, yeah, for me to get to the top, I think I didn't have my 12 millimeter at that point. So I just used that like 16 to 35.
Okay. Mhm.
And it was, when you're using a wide angle, you get a lot of depth of field, but it probably wasn't wide open because I knew I wanted that building in focus.
Mhm.
So, I probably, well, you can see the sidewalk in the foreground at the bottom is in focus. So I've got a very big depth of field there. And that might have been how I slowed it down too. By having a smaller aperture, I lengthened my,
Shutter speed.
my shutter speed and probably kept the ISO pretty smooth.
Does your lens have image stabilization?
I don't know. This is my older Nikon gear. No, this was on tripod. This was on
Okay.
tripod.
But this
And-
kind of distortion is something you see from an image stabilized lens on a tripod, which is kind of, I like the look, and you can get some really interesting things by doing that. So I was asking.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. But if that was the case, wouldn't you also get it in the building?
Well, no, if it was on a tripod, you wouldn't know.
Yeah, oh, okay. Okay, I'm not sure, I can be negligent about turning off my image stabilization when I throw my camera on the tripod. I can forget about that all the time.
Well, you're shooting with the A1. I don't think it's a big deal.
Well, no, I just got the A1. This is my old, this was probably with my my D810 or my D5, my old Nikon gear.
Okay, I want to get to Tom here. He's been patiently sitting. And Tom, if the plan is for me to show these and you can talk about some of the things you're doing here, is that all right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
I was blown away when I saw this last batch you did.
that one, that, where that, these all have a photographic basis. They're not just strictly, Photoshop art. They're all based on some kind of a photograph. That was the floor in the men's room in the Fisher building. one of the men's rooms there, the tile floor.
Hmm.
It had an interesting pattern, and so I've kind of just searching around it for different artistic styles and things. And lately, past couple of years, I've taken a kind of a liking to Art Deco, but I didn't really know what to do with it exactly. So this is just these are all just explorations that I'm working on. I don't think anything is quite final yet. That was exterior, the Broad Art Museum in Lansing, or Broad, excuse me. It's pronounced Broad. Oh, and I apologize for that. There an interruption with the cell phone earlier.
I feel like I want to see your whole process for creating this from the raw.
Yeah, that's just
Can you-
marvelous.
Well, I'm kind of, you have to start out with something fairly simple, something with geometrics, lots of triangles, flat surfaces, rectangles, that sort of thing, and usually architecture works pretty good for that. So I don't know, I'll just sort of get something in mind and then just start doodling with it, basically. I'll start sectioning it up and start building layers and switching parts around. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work. I'm not even sure if it's not really quite photography, is it?
Oh, don't say that, Tom.
No.
It's graphic
It's
design.
photograph.
It's graphic art. So whatever you're doing, it's good. You don't have to put any.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this screams modern version of Art Deco.
Yeah, it kind of, it helps me to learn photo editing a lot better. All the different, the selecting and paths and working with layers and blend modes and so forth. And that's pretty
Typically, how
much the
many-
basis of all these pictures that I've been doing lately. I've been
So,
going back.
Tom, typically, how many layers are you using in your images?
I'll maybe 30 or something like that. Yeah, I kind of tend to compress them down as I'm going along. It gets a little bit hard to handle. You can put them in groups. That makes the panels, your layers panels a lot smaller and easier to navigate around.
This one is just gorgeous.
That's yeah, I took that just last week, I think it was, over in the Rochester Hills Library.
I actually ran over to the library this afternoon just to see this from the second floor because I had been there. So, I go library twice a week, but, I had never seen this view, and it looks so Art Deco-ish.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, that's another thing is, you have to find your original image. It really helps if it already sort of has an Art Deco feeling to it. And a lot of chrome and shiny objects, flat surfaces, flat coloration. I'm starting to change perspective on these things a lot too. I change the aspect ratios, and there is one picture of some trees over on the Oakland Hills golf course. Now, I did that in a black and white. I don't know if anybody saw it. I think I took the black and white off and went with this. I don't know if it's I think I actually like this one a little bit better, my black and white. You know what that is? That is the Neuro filter. What's the color? Colorized.
Colorized.
Yeah. And I kind of like that. Actually, I liked it a little bit better than the black and white.
Yeah, that's really nice.
I like that brown.
Yeah, and you have to simplify a lot too. There's always a lot of stuff in the pictures. You got to learn how to, to clone stamp things out, get rid of a lot of stuff. The simpler the picture is, the better it works. I think this is over at Oakland University, one of the buildings over there. I can't quite remember exactly what that was. But that I just started doodling. I kind of have these pre-visualized figures in mind, and then I'll see how they work.
That's the engineering building, isn't it?
I think it might be. Yeah, it is. I can tell by the stairway there. And now this one was 3. Gary, you remember when we were over there?
Yep.
I took this a couple years ago, but it's the same trees. They were all in a line side by side. So I had several pictures of that, and I thought, well, I'm going to try this. So I just stretched it vertically and then changed the perspective on it. And that's what I came up with. That's an old picture.
That's a nice picture.
That's
It
a
was
very
right down to and that's another one of the neural filters.
But the neural filter is only giving you the beautiful colors. Picture
Yeah,
is yours.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not even doing anything with that. I just click on it and let it do its thing, because it's got a whole bunch of sliders and things there. And I was just sort of curious as to what it would do. And I thought, hey, that's pretty neat. I feel guilty on just one clicking on something.
But
It's like,
again, you've made, you've picked the right image, and yeah, it's not.
When
In
we
your
go out
case,
shooting, he's always shooting at something that we didn't even see.
you know where this is?
Also,
That's on the other end of the Rosa Parks.
yeah.
right at the entrance of it.
Yep, exactly.
This one I love.
That was kind of one of my first tries at making something look like an Art Deco thing. You know, it's got a lot of metallic look to it and everything.
So that's the engineering building at OU behind, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But what did you put in the front?
I took sections of that building and just chopped it all up. And then I started changing the blend modes on that. And then I'd use the difference blend mode, and then I go into transform, and I'll scale it down slightly. And then so you'll get these white edges if you do it right. And it almost looks like stained glass strips in a way.
Yeah, it looks like a mirror and then the building
Yeah.
behind it, like an Art
Mhm.
Deco mirror.
Yeah, and then I just rotate these things around and mess
Really?
around with the blend modes to see, you know, just trial and error, see what looks good. And then,
Every one of these is you're creating fine art.
thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I don't like it. It's too much like that engineering building in the background is a little bit too intact. I wish I'd have split that up into pieces a little bit more. It's almost like you're looking through a clear window with some other stained glass on it. So
Well, the reason I know that building is I was hired to photograph it by the glass manufacturer.
yeah. And this one, when I first did it, I thought it was kind of, I don't know, looked like alien. I didn't like the looks of it. Matter of fact, I had it posted, and then I took it down, and
It's like a palm.
yeah, I don't know. I thought it was kind of creepy myself, but what it is the facade from the DeVos Center over in Grand Rapids.
Right. I kind of, it has a little like organic feel to me.
Mhm.
Yeah, it really
No.
is, isn't it? Yeah,
The thick
yeah,
leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Like something out of the Matrix movie.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. And
Love that
that
one.
was in Grand Rapids at what's the name of that big insurance building or something like that? Right near where there's a blue pedestrian bridge. It was I don't know, originally a regular vehicular bridge, but now it's so almost like a park on this bridge.
Isn't it now, is it the JW?
No, what is it? It's a big blue building. It's a big blue building. So I just chopped it up into pieces and stacked it up. And I think I put the neural filter colorize on that too.
Looks like the nice tones.
Mhm. Yeah, that does a nice job. That's at Broad Museum again. Let's see, that's downtown around Eastern Market, I believe, downtown Detroit. And I think those forms in there, I was really trying to find typical Art Deco type forms, and you'd find those forms in the Art Deco really lent itself well to the plastics industry, and they really kind of went wild, you know, with radios and appliances and all sorts of things, and you'll find some of those sort of shapes in the Art Deco appliances and things. So I thought I'd just grab a few of those shapes and try them out. And
Wow,
yeah,
that's clearly Art Deco.
yeah. So they're fun. They're it's like, gosh, I start out and I never know what I'm going to end up with.
How do you make those shapes? Like that?
Oh, okay. Well,
Draw them?
are you familiar with the path tool?
Oh,
Or
no.
the pen tool? It makes paths. Well, Everybody should
No.
learn that. That's, if you want to select things and make geometric shapes and you can make, gosh, you can do so much with a path, you know, you can make a selection out of it. You can make a channel that you can use for a mask. They're really great to work with. And
Okay.
so then I take and I go to layer style and I'll put in an inner shadow or a drop shadow, sometimes a bevel, inner and outer bevel, just to give it that three-dimensional look, like things are stacked up there.
Oh,
So
Let
it's
me
fun.
tell you, I'm pretty good at Photoshop, but Tom's playing in a different league than I am when it comes to.
Yeah,
you
it's
sure
real
do.
art. I mean, this is incredible art.
Mhm.
yeah, you have to understand things
Hmm.
like depth and shadows and colors. And
And let's see, go back to that very first one there. Oh, and that's engineering building again. I kind of like that building.
yeah.
Which engineering building is this?
It's one of
It's-
OU.
No, wait a minute, excuse me. This is actually in Grand Rapids. It's near the U of M campus over there in
Yeah, I
Grand
was gonna
Rapids.
say, I don't know how I stretched the engineering building into
Yeah,
that. picture.
yeah, very similar. And that's over on Oakland University Golf Course.
Ah, Oakland, yeah.
So Tom, would you be willing to, in our next meeting, maybe show us how to do some of those things you're talking about?
Oh,
paths and-
Yeah, I do that. Go back to that other one.
Hey, go back here and you tell me which one you want.
The one next to the kind of the tall tree, you know, that gnarly tree that I showed you guys
This
down
one
at the
here?
bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's one that I stretched. I was at, I actually took that, well, it says I took it in 2021. I don't know. I guess I did. Well, anyway, I was over.
There's my comments.
Well, this is
I-
like,
No, that's-
I didn't know what to do with it. I was just had some spare time and I was at my brother-in-law's place and I noticed a Japanese print that they had on the wall and it was about a foot wide and about 4 feet tall. And I kind of like that aspect ratio. And you know, some of those Chinese, Japanese prints have all that kind of, you know, that detail in the branches, you know, they're kind of weeping down, you know, curved down. And so I thought, well, I'm just going to accentuate that and stretch that out.
It's like one of those prints on silk that hangs from the.
Yeah, and I was pretty happy with that darn thing. Yeah, I like that real well. I don't think I got my border quite right, but
I was gonna say, wasn't that when you and Doug and Gary went out in the snow?
Yeah.
yeah.
at OU?
And I'm going to show you a picture of the same tree that I shot in an entirely different way. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, that would be cool to see. Yeah. So
But if you're interested, here's where you go. Take a look at Tom's and, you
And
know,
some of his simplified stuff down in here, these are incredible.
yeah.
so give them a look and, you know, send us some notes and comments or leave comments here. And if you want Tom to explain some of this, some of it's rocket science, some of it's, you know, it can be explained, but, you know, he just does wonderful work and I enjoy going out photographing with him. So.
But I found out that you can just about take any picture and turn it into a work of art. Yeah, I think you really can. It doesn't matter what it is.
I believe you can do that.
Yeah.
I've got a couple, I'm just gonna show them real quick, but we're gonna get into, I'm gonna show Tidorenko's stuff. I found one picture where I tried after I saw Tidorenko's, I tried this probably 2 years ago, but this is a shot I took down at the Henry Ford Museum.
That's great.
On a
Pretty close.
tripod.
Pretty close.
Yeah,
That's nice.
it really is. It's really close.
And I think this is a 3-second exposure. Some of his stuff, he goes for 30 seconds, a minute, couple minutes, but it can be done, you know, and Bob and I were talking about different places we could go and set up and do this. You know, and there's all, you know, if you're outside using 10-stop neutral density filters, you can create one thing. If you're inside, you know, just longer exposures. But I really like this photographer, and I think you know, he's a great inspiration for doing stuff like this. And I'm just throwing in a couple of things here just to show you some of the things that
This one just blew me away.
Yeah, that is just,
That's cool. Yeah.
that's out of sight. That is really cool.
and,
It really is.
this one will take a while to explain, but
Modern Magritte.
That is really cool.
Is that our famous Mercedes?
I think I'm trying to remember what that was, an Auburn or something like that I stretched and then blended it in, you know, but getting all this to work together and making it look like it's coming out of a cave and stretching it and the water, it was a lot of work. I'm not going to tell you this was easy. This was a lot of work.
Yeah. Do you know that Magritte painting with the train coming out of the fireplace?
No, but I'd like to see it.
Oh, look him up. You know, the bowler hat guy with all the puffy clouds.
Yeah.
Rene Magritte. He's a
Oh,
painter.
yeah.
Famous British painter.
Okay.
Yeah, he does these sort of, you know, he's part of the surrealistic, you know, school.
This was down at Stony Creek. Doug and I went out there. We had a morning where we just got that snowstorm and some fog, and we walked around, and it's an unusual crop, but I love the way this thing fades off into the background. If you look just real lightly here to there, you can see the background silhouette of the trees in the background, and you know, all the frost and snow on the leaves. I love this picture.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Very calming.
This is the old courthouse downtown Detroit. And
Oh,
you got
yeah,
a
that's
guy
well
just
done.
walking here. Just the light was absolutely perfect for that shot. And here's Tom's tree, but he went vertical, I went horizontal. And I'm not sure if this is Tom out here that I caught or there was somebody else walking around, but
No, I didn't get out there. That's not me.
this is at the Oakland golf course, or Oakland University golf course. And we were standing on the first tee. Of course, it's not a first tee in the wintertime, but there's this big gnarly tree that's right on the first tee. And you just, you know, it's just such a beautiful scene with all the snow and the trees in the background.
Now, that's the one that they kicked you out of last time.
Yeah, you can't wander around on the golf
Yeah.
course any longer. Tom and I ruined it for everybody.
Yeah, well, I think you could way over in that woods there on the left or right-hand side. You
Yeah,
can come in there. There's a Lonedale Road that comes off a Squirrel, and you can drive back into the end there. Nobody'd even know you're there. You could probably walk all over out there, and they wouldn't even see you. And there's plenty of other stuff out there in that golf course. So
and we went down to the DA. I have probably taken 2,000 pictures of the Diego Rivera court, and
At least.
I'm just always taken by the people, and especially these children here, the little girl with her red dress and these two boys, you know, with the look on their face, looking up at the screen. And so this is my new fancy camera. So I had to go down there and try some different things, trying hand holding for a half a second and things like that. But the one thing I learned real quickly is that you can hand hold for a half a second and get the background nice and clean, but people are going to move and you're going to get some blur. So most of my shots had a lot of movement. You can see the little guy's hand here is actually blurred.
yeah,
Yeah,
Never
but
noticed
that's
it.
the effect you want, isn't it?
It could be, yes, it
Yeah.
can be. Oh, and this, like I said, I have thousands and thousands of shots of this court. This is probably to me, the best descriptive picture I have of the Diego Rivera court. And it's one of those pictures where everybody just seems to be in the right place at the right time and everything just looks right. And it's an artography shot. But I took this not with my new camera, but with my iPhone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And this is a panel shot with the 13 Pro Max. And I just could not believe the quality. I mean, it's a 21-inch wide panel, and the resolution and the detail is just absolutely amazing.
So we're sitting there with $20,000 worth of camera gear and the
Oh, I know.
iPhone that takes the day.
People complain about buying an expensive phone. It's like, no, you're buying an inexpensive, fine quality camera.
You're right, yeah. And Keith, this is another one of my attempts with the bridge. I just can't get over the bridge and the detail. And when I said it's easy to do, but it can be difficult because you have to line up all of these little gussets and things like that. So it's a difficult thing to get exactly right. And it's certainly not as colorful as yours, but it's not a total black and white. There's some yellow and reds and oranges in here
that might be one to try the neural filter on.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was in the Rochester Park 2 days ago. I think I went down there, and there's just some water and ice and things like that. So I played around with that a little bit.
Is that behind the library?
No, this is over in the city park, which is over by the police station on the other
Okay.
side of the street.
Yeah.
But this was pretty much handheld, which is amazing that you can do this now with a camera that has 6 stops of image stabilization. I think this was at a fifth of a second. So, okay, real quickly, Titarenko has all these different portfolios out there. City of Shadows is his most famous book that he has out, and it is so I think the cheapest one I saw a copy is like $500 to get a copy of his book, just because it's in such demand. But his work is just absolutely amazing.
And he was doing most of this during film days.
Yeah, he did this with a Hasselblad on a tripod at a time when it was pretty rough. This is in St. Petersburg, and at the time he was afraid of his life going out with his camera because he thought he was going to get mugged and his camera stolen. So he would go out one day, and then he would not come back for 2 or 3 weeks because he didn't want to have somebody see him and then be waiting for him for the next couple of days. So it's an amazing story when you listen to him talk. So he's done that, and the New York shots. He's done this all with film, and what he does is he hand tones these so that you see some of these have little sparkles of yellow and gold in there, and he does that with selenium and sepia toning, and he'll throw that little bit of color touch into some of his pictures. And he's a true artist. It's I spent a lot of time in a dark room trying to do stuff like this, and he's really good.
Yeah, a little dab on that umbrella.
So there's a lot of information about him on the internet, and I'd recommend taking a look. I don't think I missed anybody today here. I think I got everyone.
There's another photographer, and I can't remember exactly his name. It's something like Shu Hanshu or something like that. And I ran across him when I was referencing Titarenko. And I looked at some of his stuff, and he's doing that sort of those street scenes with the long exposures, but he's doing it in Hong Kong. And they're not quite as dismal looking as Titarenko's. A little brighter picture there, but I'll try and find out what his name is, and maybe I'll post that so you can have a look at that if you're interested in that kind of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what I think? Why couldn't you just stack up photos. You know, maybe use maybe a 1/10 of a second handhold and just shoot a bunch of shots and then stack them up like they do. You can make those silky waterfalls. You can do that by stacking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's, in fact, that was in Adam Gibbs's, if anyone follows Adam Gibbs, I know you do, Anne. That's what he did this
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. Well,
For a waterfall
you don't
shot.
need long exposures, neutral density filters,
Right.
and all that sort of stuff. And they,
Mhm.
and you can, you can auto align them in Photoshop. And I think you could take a whole bunch of shots, stack them up, and as soon as I can find me a crowd around anywhere, I'm gonna get out in my new
Those
camera.
days are coming back.
Right now,
Pardon?
crowds are few and far between right now.
Yeah. There was a guy on YouTube who was doing an explanation. He's a young guy in Toronto. He was explaining Titarenko's photographs, and he got all enthused, and he said he went out and he couldn't find crowds anywhere because of COVID, And he said after a while, people started protesting. And the next thing you know, he said there were protests all over Toronto. And he said that was a great place to go get those type of photographs, And he posted some of his things there, and they're pretty darn interesting. So, might check that out.
It's an election year. We may have some protests before the year's over.
Yeah.
All right, so any comments about what you saw today, or I'll try to bring in something like Titarenko, every month. If you have suggestions, please send them along. I'm always looking for stuff, and sometimes I'm banging my head against a wall trying to figure out what to bring in for this stuff. But or if you have a topic, any other topic you want us to talk about, there's guys here that can like Tom with all his talent that we can lean on and get some ideas. So
I only do that because I'm not very good at capture. I'm better at post editing than I am getting the original image.
You're the most humble,
Gotta
great
save
photographer I know.
it somehow.
Tom,
Well, I know I'm going to try using that neural filter on some of my black and whites. I think it might have some interesting effects.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that filter works pretty well, except on grass or green color. It just gives an odd color to it, but other times it works good. And on faces too, old photos,
Yeah.
it'll bring the color back in.
I think it might
Anybody
be.
ever
Try it on
anybody ever
nature.
use the duotone mode? If you go up into image and you come down, there's modes, there's like RGB and grayscale, and then there's duotone. And that's been there almost since day one of Photoshop. And you can really find some nice tones in there. I used to use those quite often. They work great with black and white. So
Where is that found again, Tom?
it's in Photoshop. Go to image. I believe it's image.
Mhm.
And pop down, and then you have your mode. You have your, your grayscale and your 16-bit and the 8-bit, and you'll see duotone. I think it's right at the top. And that covers duotones, tritones, and quadtones. And that's pretty darn interesting. You hardly ever hear anything about it anymore, but you can get some really interesting tones out of there. There's one that it makes a sort of takes a black and white and turns it into sort of a chocolate brown. Reminds me of prints I saw on I think it was Agfa prints from way the heck back when I was in Germany back 50 years ago.
It was
And
bromonide
people-
paper or something like that, wasn't it called that?
I don't know what it was, but it just had this beautiful, rich brownish tone. The blacks were all,
Yeah.
really nice. And Yeah, there is like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those tones in there, and finding the right one can be a problem sometimes. But I don't know. I just wondered if anybody saw. Maybe I'll do one and I'll post it up and show you what it does.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah. So if
There's a
anybody
couple-
if anybody has any questions on what I'm doing, just
Yeah.
let me know. And, you know.
There's a couple photographers that really come to mind for me that are, very pertinent to what we talked about tonight. The one is Linda Sando. I met her in New York, and she uses mostly infrared, but long exposure and a combination of blurred figures, people in public settings, along with architectural stuff, and her stuff is pretty darn cool. The other one for like the architectural overworking is a gal that's done an amazing job with architectural stuff, fabulous reflections, and then also the photoshopping of mixing things up. Is a gal, she was actually an airline pilot for New Zealand Air that I got to know, Sarah Caldwell, and she's on Instagram. And she's got a few different sites. She's got an architect, but it's her reflections and her architectural stuff is amazing.
Sarah Caldwell, wasn't she a conductor? Like orchestra, she was a maestro. What do you call him? Like
Could have been. Could have been, but this
classical
Sarah-
music conductor, Sarah Caldwell, wasn't it? Wasn't there one? Yeah, she was one of the first female conductors.
Maybe, but
This is
she's a really
coincidence.
cool, very cool lady. I trounced around Japan with her a little bit.
Does she have a site?
Look her up maybe on Instagram,
Yeah.
and then you'll find her. She's won a ton of competitions very justifiably.
Who was the first one you mentioned?
Linda Sandow.
Linda Sand.
S-A-N-D-O-W.
That name sounds familiar to me.
She shows in the Soho Gallery in New York quite a bit. But that's the blurred figures, street photography, that kind of thing, mix of architectural, really cool.
Yeah. Well, myself, I'm just trying to strive for being different, I guess.
Well, you're doing a fine
I just
job.
want to do different things all the time. So
There is a Sarah Caldwell orchestra conductor.
yeah.
Oh, there you go. Oh, she's multi-talented.
Yeah.
Might not be the same one though.
No, I doubt it.
Well, I'd say we had a pretty good meeting tonight. Guys,
Yeah.
if there's anything you want us to be doing different, let us know.
Yeah, I saw some really good stuff, some things that kind of spurred me to, move out in some of those directions a little bit more. And get out of the house a little bit more too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You're out of the house all the time on that mountain bike.
Well, not in the past 3 weeks. I haven't been.
Okay,
All
Okay.
right.
stay in touch and everybody stay safe, okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Have a good one.
good.
Well,
Take
like,
care, everyone.
Everybody.
Okay,
Thank you.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Thanks, Gary.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
bye.
you gonna be there Saturday, Gary?
Yes, yeah, we'll have coffee, okay?
All right, fine.